Hello world, welcome to LGBT Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ plus planet where each and every one of us belong to one or two letters in the sexual alphabet, the 10-letter sexual alphabet, LGBTQIAAP. And today we are going on with part 2 of the critique of the video done at Rubin Report where he interviewed Heather Mcdonald. Very interesting discussion of her book Diversity Delusion, and as I've said, it's a critique because we agreed in very few things but disagreed in very many things. And one of them, the biggest disagreement I have, is the fact that she says diversity is a delusion, or there's a diversity delusion. I disagree. There is no diversity delusion, there is a diversity reality. And maybe what I think she needs to know is diversity is just an issue, it's a double-edged sword. If I was to write a book, I would write it that way, that diversity is a double-edged sword. What it means to be a double-edged sword, and just like everything is double-edged. Or not even double-edged, everything is multifaceted. It's a rainbow world, but we are multifaceted. Even God doesn't have two spirits. God has 7 spirits. He's multifaceted. And because you're created in the image of God, you are also multifaceted. Yes, you are also multifaceted. So we are not even double-edged, we are multifaceted. Now, the term double-edged sword or double-edged came because the sword is able to do 2 things. But these days, English, being a very liberal language, played around with the double-edged aspect of anything to mean that you can be good and bad at the same time. Like the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is God's tree. Please understand, that's not the tree of Satan. It is God's tree. And that tree, God called it good. The day he created trees, he praised every tree. So those people who like taking marijuana, take it on. God called it good. So anyway, I'm just joking. Every tree was good, including that tree of knowledge of good and evil. And it was so good that after Adam and Eve ate from it, God blocked them from eating from the tree of life, because if they ate from that tree, they would never die and they would be like God. So when did they become like God? When they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's why we are gods. I thank Adam and Eve for eating from that tree. Yes, thank you. You made us gods. You know, we are temporary gods because we die. So there we need to cane Adam and Eve. We need to go for them. They should have eaten the tree of life, from the tree of life. But they only ate from the tree of knowledge and of good and evil, which makes us knowledgeable. You see, we are gods. Yes, we are all gods. And some people are more godlike than others. You see, Heather and the rest who come on Rubin Report, they are more godlike because they have information. They are making people listen to them. They are making people to stop in their busy lives. Look at all these humans here. All of these comments here. All these humans. They have listened to Heather. God Heather. Yes. You see, they have many things to do in their time, but they have given their time to listen to her. So reason, because she is pouring knowledge. She's a tree, like the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, that's what you need to understand. Now, of course, I listen to everybody. That's my policy, because whether you agree with me or disagree with me, and when you disagree or when I don't find myself agreeing with you, I will spend more time with you, because I'm really trying to understand where you're coming from. So that's why we're doing this video of Heather, because I disagree with her viewpoint. She's on the right, of course, and I'm still on the left, though I'm not a blind leftist. I'm a free, in fact, if anything, I think I call myself independent. Reason being, but if you pin me down completely, I'll run back to the left. Reason being, I love liberalism. I believe we are in a liberal world. We should be free and do whatever we want. Of course, I know why people are attacking the left is because they feel, even though they say they are liberal, they are actually not liberal, because if you are a homophobe, they can't give you space, yes, to discuss. And if you're a Islamophobe, they can't give you space to discuss. So that's why the right doesn't understand why the left is called liberal, when they do not even understand. They cannot give space to a homophobe to talk, or to a transphobe, or to a Islamophobe, or a conservative to speak. So I'm of the view, I take a different view. I'm a different leftist. I don't believe in shutting down anybody. Even those who oppose me, I let them talk. As long as I give my space to talk, and as long as you don't interfere with my life, because when I give you my opinion about something, I'm not saying you should believe me. I'm not saying you should accept my opinion. I'm not saying you should live like me. I'm just telling you this is who I am. Yes. Take it or leave it. This is who I am. But control freaks, who are both found on the left and the right, they want to control people to believe their viewpoint, which is impossible. You can't change anybody. I'm telling you. I always tell people, homophobes, I don't agree with them. I can't change them. And if you can't change a homophobe, then check their disorder. They have a disorder. Because there are homophobes who have changed. Yes. If you see someone who was homophobic before and now is no longer homophobic, that person is a sane person. Yes. Number one, he's sane. Number two, he could be a quick learner, a quick understander. Now, when you get a homophobe who can't change, number one, he's insane. If he's not insane, number two, he's a slow learner. He's very slow at understanding. Now, when you notice somebody is slow at understanding, if for 20 years you give him the same lesson and he can't get it, he's insane. Yes. Even 20 years is too long. You know how to measure an insane person. And then there are some people who are so willfully ignorant, they don't even want to read. What are you going to do with that person? Are you going to kill him? The best you can do is don't stay near them. Don't be near them. So that's what the left and the right need to understand about life. And this is what we want to share when we listen to Heather. All right, good. So that is my understanding. So please understand me when I do videos of people. I'm not supporting them. I just give people a chance to speak. And then I give my views in response to what they have said. And that's what I do. I believe in a world of freedom. Because we're all gods. Yes. So gods have power. Everybody has power. It's just that some people have more power than others. That's why we have order in the world. Even though there's chaos, we still have order. Have you noticed, is your country going to war? Then there's peace. These small things you're having, arguments, different political opinions, they're just small things. That's part of life. But your country is at peace because you're not fighting. There's no war. There's no war. So all of these YouTube videos you see where we disagree, we're arguing, is a sign of peace. Believe you me, if there was world war, there would be no time to do a video. Yes, there would be no time. There is no time that we'll be having war. Where? Which war? So be blessed. I mean, be encouraged. What you're saying. I'm so sorry. I'm hearing someone preaching outside, so that unconsciously affects me to think I'm in a church. Okay, so we have played the part where Heather had said she is a secular conservative, and we left off there to show you that when a child, the growth of every hero today, even like R. Kelly has been charged. People are looking at what R. Kelly did when he was young. They are not looking at R. Kelly's childhood. Yes, you have to look at someone's childhood to understand his behavior. You see why I had to do this video of Heather Mcdonald is because Heather has just said in part 1 that she is a secular conservative, meaning she grew up without religion. She grew up without religion. So what does this mean? And then she even said where she was born. She was born in LA, grew up in LA, and then the next part of studying, she went to the Eastern Coast. Do you know Los Angeles is very secular? Very. It's not even part of the Bible Belt. If she was from Georgia, I would understand if she said she's religious. If she said she was born in Georgia and she is a secular conservative, I would collapse. Yes, I would really faint because Georgia is so Bible. It's so Bible. South Carolina is so Bible. Texas is even beyond Bible. Louisiana, Bible. Alabama, Bible. And this is where slaves were. It's so ironic, very ironic, that where the Bible was king, slaves were there. It's unbelievable. So I would be shocked if a secular conservative came from the Bible Belt. See, she was born in LA. It's not even part of the Bible Belt. It's a free state in thought. So that now explains why she's secular. She saw secularism. She didn't have time to watch, to run to church, Like most of the black activists, even in the Black Lives Matters movement, you'll find them, they were in church. And their response, they are actually attacking religion. Yes, they don't know it if they are religious. Look at Al Sharpton. He's a reverend. Look at all of this. Martin Luther King. Do you know the Bible says you should obey those in authority? Martin Luther King did not obey that scripture. Yes. Even Jesus did not obey it. Yes. Well, Jesus obeyed it in some extent. He paid taxes. Even Martin Luther King may have paid taxes, but he knew his people were being oppressed. The laws were bad. That's what you need to understand about power. Truth speaking to power. Truth is stronger than power. Never forget that. Yes, that's the reality. That's why those in power listen to everybody. Because you're looking for truth. Yes, you are looking for truth. If you don't get truth, if you're in power and you don't know the truth, you are dead. You see what's happening to Bashir in Sudan? He is slowly ceding power. Within a short time, he'll be gone. Reason being, imagine power has announced emergency. People are still protesting. What is the truth? The truth is people don't want you. That's the truth. They don't want you. If they wanted you, they would have obeyed the emergency order. They don't want you. So you see, he's now ceding. He's now giving away posts, power. Giving away power. It's because power is subject to truth. That's what we always tell presidents and governments, that don't oppress LGBTQ persons. They are truthful. It's the truth. They exist. So as a government, you'd be wise to stand with them. That's what Obama did. You know, Obama had every chance to even lambast the LGBT community. He had it. He had the power. But there's one thing he did. He listened to truth. That's what he did. And he put the LGBTQ persons in the military and put them in the government. Because based on the truth, science is truth. So like in Sudan, the truth is the government is failing to make the economic lives of the people good. So because of that, science says when life is bad economically, people will rise up. And that's what has happened in Sudan. So you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't know the truth, you're done. And that's what has happened to Bashir. All right, enough of philosophy. Let's go on to another part of the video that was very important. And we are there. Hold on.
Of blacks are about 23% of the population. A Black Lives Matter activist or an academic often would say that shows the police are racist. Wrong benchmark. The benchmark is crime. Policing is crime driven. Blacks in New York City commit 71% of all shootings. If you add Hispanic shootings to black shootings, you account for 98% of all shootings in New York. Whites are 34% of the population, they commit 2% of shootings. So that's the basic fallacy, that, and this is a broader problem.
Right, so what would you say is the root of that?
The root of this is that I think the core difference between a liberal outlook on the world and a conservative one is that liberals will only accept structural explanations for socioeconomic disparities. They will not ever accept a behavioral explanation, that there are behaviors, cultures that are different, that explain poverty rates, say. Conservatives, maybe to a fault, are not particularly open to structural explanations and will see behavioral reasons. So for instance, when you look at poverty, the biggest driver in American poverty today is having children out of wedlock.
Good. So there is Heather. She has said a mouthful. And the most important part she has said is that, according to her, the liberal argument side of arguing always sees the problem to be structural and always depend on structural explanations. But the conservatives always look at it as a behavioral issue. Very important point from Heather. I'm not, and what I'm happy about, she has really not, she's not siding at this point. She's not siding with the conservatives. Of course, in other parts of the video she will side with the conservatives, but at this point she's not siding. She's trying to tell you to understand the whole dialectic between the left and the right is that the left are look at life in a structural way, their philosophical arguments are based on what is the structure of power. For conservatives, them it is what is the behavior of the people, not the structure. Now, whom do I stand with? I stand with, at this point, I look at life structurally. Reason: behavior is relative. You can't, behavior, there are good and bad liberals, there are good and bad conservatives. It's a fact. Yes, that's what you need to understand. And what I mean by good and bad is what you will call good and bad, you as a person. So morality is very relative. Now, I may not like I'm trying to find what I may not like. I may not like let's see, I'm trying to look for an example. I may not like a loud-mouthed person, you know. So when I get a loud-mouthed person, even if he's on my side, he's a liberal, I will say, I don't like him. He's so loud-mouthed. But I will be very kind to him because he's a liberal. Now, if he's a conservative, I will still not like him. Not only because he's a conservative, but because he's loud-mouthed. So what am I saying? Loudmouths are found both in the liberal and the conservative side. There are people who can kill. Yes, murderers. They are found on both the liberal and the conservative side. Rapists can be found both on the liberal and the conservative side. Now, what is different is the number of people. Now, if there are more liberals who are more loud-mouthed than conservatives, then you can now make a conclusion that very many liberals tend to be loud-mouthed. Now, if you find conservatives are very paranoid persons, very many of them are paranoid, then you come with a conclusion that majority of conservatives tend to be paranoid based on this data that we found many conservatives are also paranoid. You see, so that's what you call logical deduction. It's called, when you have data, you are able to conclude on very many things. That's why it's very important to know which explanation you stand by. I stand by the liberal one of structural explanation. Reason being, I've told you, behavior, crime, it has nothing to do with, crime has really nothing to do with behavior. Especially when the structure has the ability to affect behavior. I believe structure affects behavior. If you're in an economic system that is very open and very stabilizing, it stabilizes everybody's income irrespective of their race. Do you know what you're going to have? You are going to have, if there's crime in that economically stable society, the crime will now be based more on behavior than the structure. But if you are in a society where the economic infrastructure is very detrimental to the well-being of human beings, by detrimental I mean that there are very many rich people and then there are very many poor people, or there are few rich people and there are many poor people, then that structure, the effects of that having such a structure can even affect the behavior of people. So this is why you find the black people, especially in America, they find themselves in prison. It's not because they are prone to be bad. That is that's the problem conservatives make. They look at things as a behavioral problem and therefore become racist in that looking of things in a behavioral way. It is actually structural, because even whites kill. You see, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't look at things as behavioral, because whites also kill. Asians also kill. Yes. And so because everybody can kill, so it's nothing to do with behavior. You look at the surrounding circumstances. So what are the surrounding circumstances for blacks? Majority of them are poor or below. They don't really have a high income lifestyle. And so what does this mean? They live in a bad house. They won't have very nice flashy clothes. They won't be able to eat well. All of those things. So you see that effect. That thing it affects the lifestyle of that person. And when the economic life affects your lifestyle, it even affects behavior. And so people go and steal, they go and kill. You see why Chicago is like that? Black on black crime. Guess what? Who was Jesse attacked by? Smollett? Black people. Where was Jesse? In Chicago. Understand that. Understand that reality. And it is a very special black on black crime. These were Nigerians. They are blacks from Africa. And there's a very dangerous narrative. Some things I don't even discuss, that's happening between the black people because of homosexuality. There's a very sad understanding about homosexuality that is making other blacks attack black gay people, because they feel like black gay people are being used to spread gayness. There's nothing like that. People are gay. That's it. People are gay. And not everybody is gay. So there's nothing like someone is making us. That is a very dangerous propaganda happening. And because of that, people are attacking these people. That's why Smollett's issue was no joke. I've already given my video and my views about that. So anyway, what I was trying to show you was, because of the structural mistakes, the especially economic, you will find many black people are going to be the criminals, because they are the poor ones. Do you know rich criminals can't be caught? They have the best lawyers. They even have time to think of how to commit the crime. Do you remember the guy Madoff? Madoff, imagine, swindled millions. Millions. He couldn't be caught. Why? He was so protected. He had the best lawyers. The best. They knew where to cover his tracks. So nobody could. When you notice that Madoff has stolen from you, you can't prove it because it's already protected. But a poor person, a poor black person in the Bronx comes and sees you with your phone and steals it. He even doesn't have time to think about what will happen after this. He's really stealing because he wants money so that he can survive. You will catch him and he goes to jail. So most of these people in jail are poor people. They can't even think about the consequences of why they have stolen. Look at Finland. Do you know how many people are poor there? None. Go and look at the crime stats. You'll even look for the thieves. You will look for them. So what does this mean? Economics, which is a structural concept, affects behavior. So that's how may I answer conservatives. I don't look at it like sin. There's too much sin in the society. No. Anybody who believes in the sin concept is a behavioral scientist. Excuse me. Every person who believes in the sin concept is a behavioral scientist. So I just wanted to talk about that point. This was the most important point in the video because she was trying to say, she has explained it well, that conservatives love behavior, looking at blaming behavior, while liberals or the left like blaming the structure of society. And I said I stand with the liberal point of view. Now, she's not giving her view, but later on in the video, you'll see she lies in the conservative.
I can't begin to understand how that could not have been obvious. But I think our degree of guilt for that is now so great and understandable, frankly, that we're very reluctant to ascribe agency to blacks. We want to say everything, the continuing problems, the failure to close the achievement gap, the crime disparities, which are massive, the victimization disparities. Blacks die of homicide at 6 times the rate of whites and Hispanics combined. That's a civil rights problem. Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to talk about that. Instead, we want to change the narrative to be it's all white racism, which is a way of infantilizing blacks, of saying there's nothing you can do for yourselves, of getting rid of the acting white culture, you know, we should all emulate Asians. I pose a thought experiment. If blacks acted like Asians for 10 years in all things, the same, like, negligible rate of out-of-wedlock child rearing, the same fanatical involvement in schools, you know, parental drive, study, you're going to go to Harvard, you know, nothing else is acceptable, don't get involved.
Well, you may not go to Harvard if you're Asian.
These stories, that's right. Well, you're going to have to be 10 times better than anybody else to go to Harvard, and you will be.
Right.
If the behaviors were the same, and we still saw these socioeconomic disparities, then I will entertain institutional structural racism as an explanation. But as long as the behaviors are so vastly different, in California where we are now, the truancy rate for blacks is 5 times higher than any other ethnic group. As long as those behaviors are so different, I think it's premature to say the only possible explanation is structural racism.
Do you think?
All right, so that's what I was saying. She was going to say that. In short, she is not supporting the structural argument. And you've heard what she has said. She has said, you see, Asians tend to go to school and do everything. They don't even have children out of wedlock. You see? But for blacks, the biggest race, the blacks are the race that has the highest number of children born out of wedlock. Now, I want you to understand something. My point of view. My point of view is that marriage is a very economical thing. And the reason why blacks have the highest number of children born out of wedlock, is because blacks are the most impoverished race, especially in America. Is a fact. So when you're impoverished, it doesn't mean you won't have sex. You will have sex, but there's something that will not happen very well. You will not be able to sustain that family. Because if you have heterosexual sex, not homosexual sex, heterosexual, when you have straight sex and you get a baby out of that sex, you are now you are supposed to be recognized by the government that you have a family, because the normal trend, the governmental trend, is get married, have a kid. But as I've told you, getting married is a lot of work, because you have to have money even to have a wedding. You have to have a car, you have to have a house, you have to have a job. You can't tell me that you're going to get married and don't have a job. You're mad. You're going to have children. You're mad. How will you take care of your kids? The government doesn't take care of kids. It's you. You're the parent. So people need to understand, black people, is that because they don't have jobs, especially that time, even if this time you still don't have a job, believe you me, you have no right to start a family. But there is a pressure I know that happens to black people and humans, is to have sex. And some people, the pressure is more on them than others. So you may find Asians biologically tend to be very asexual. They don't have a very high drive to have sex. Blacks have that high sex drive. It's okay. It's nature. You see, the point I'm trying to bring out through this critique of this video is that there is no diversity delusion. We are diverse. And we are diverse in every single way. We are diverse even in IQ, even in sex drive, even in physical features. Everywhere we are diverse in everything. And because of this, we will have diverse behaviors. So you see, the fact that many blacks have children out of wedlock, it's a behavior pattern amongst blacks. And the fact that Asians tend to have children within wedlock is a behavior that is, it could be Asiatic. And you see, for whites are different. There are whites who have children out of wedlock and others who have children in wedlock. So what does that tell you? In the white culture, there's a lot of liberal attitudes. Anybody can do whatever they want. In the black culture, because economics is a very big factor in a black person's life, it even affects the structure of the family. So you'll find most black homes have single mothers, because when they had sex, they could not even get contraception. They could not even think of all of these things. They could not even think about the economic consequences of having children. And biology was there in play. They want to have sex, so they had sex, and that happened. That's why Planned Parenthood, its clients are black. Yes. And it's very okay. And this is what Trump should understand. That you don't stop abortion. Abortion is very important for economic reasons. Leave alone medical reasons, which are also right. Abortion is also okay for economic reasons, because majority of these people, they are jobless, so they're going to have sex, and then they get a baby, and both of them have no jobs. So you see, and then you don't allow them to abort, you are done. As a government, you're done, because you will have to take care of all of those people, 2 jobless parents, and a kid who is born now in poverty. You see how sad it is? So what you could do as a government is allow people that if they get a baby from the heterosexual sex, abort the baby, abort the fetus, not even the baby. A baby is someone who is born. Yes, that's another thing people need to learn about abortion. It is not killing. It is a fetus. even if it has a heartbeat, it is not yet developed. You kill a baby when it's born and then you kill it. Yes, that's what people need to understand. It's very hard, and as I've told you, it's not so hard if you can't understand it that way. And sadly, religion has really messed up a lot of things. Religion has defined scientific terms in its own way, and that's what has hurt us, because you are not supposed to get definitions about scientific processes and procedures from the church or from religion. You get them from the doctor. And he explained, and then religious people need to be schooled in science and tell people that this is what abortion is. And remember, abortion, you're doing abortion for economic reasons. Yes, it's okay. It's better than having a child who suffers. You see now what the black population in America goes through? They beat themselves up every year, saying, oh, you guys, there are no fathers. But what happened? You're just in a cycle because you're not able to. You should sit down and understand why this cycle is there. It is there because of jobs. There are no jobs for blacks. This is why, at least I'm happy that Trump has really addressed the black population job issue. Yes, you give credit where it's due. Blacks have got jobs. The highest number of jobs have been got in Trump's time. Yes, that's good. And I remember the black pastors went to see Trump. Yes, they had to. They know the problem. It is systemic. It is a job issue. Give black people jobs, and you'll see this crime starts going down. As simple as that. So that's my view, my take of and as I've told you, behavior is also genetic. Yes. Most black people will not behave like most white people because of genes. This is what now psychologists had to come to realize, that psychology is biological, it's physiological. That's why I wrote books, and I'm going to now make them very hard copied. There's lesbian psychology, there's gay psychology, there's bisexual psychology, there is intersexual psychology, there is pansexual psychology. Why? Because the body, your psyche, lives in a physical body. So it's together. You're alive. So a gay person can never think like a straight person. This is why some people, I know what Amanda said when she said a trans woman is a trans woman. She was right in the sense that she's not saying that a trans woman is not a woman. She's just saying a trans woman is not a straight woman. That's what you need to understand. And a straight woman is not a bisexual woman. Because you have to value the desires of a behavior of a person. A straight woman's desires are not same to a bisexual woman's desires. And desire is biological. Choices are biological. People who say that when you make choices, you're an artificial person. No, you're not artificial. You are a biological being. When I make a choice to dress like this, it's biological. There is something I like about the color. That I is a biological person. He's not artificial. And when you complain about artificialness in human beings, it's not necessarily artificialness. It is that humans are receive data. Like now what I'm doing, I'm giving out data and we're listening to data. That data has a biological effect. That's why pornography can change your body, your brain. That is why poverty changes your brain. Yes. Now, if poverty changes your brain, wealth changes your brain. If pornography changes your brain, then lack of pornography also changes your brain. Yes. It's as simple as that. So what does this mean? Data is biological. Even when you listen to people who are attacking, that's why you see a gay person cannot really stay in a church where they are always attacking him. You will leave. I left. I couldn't stay in that church. It was too much. You know, it was messing up with who I am biologically. You see, and yet it was data. They didn't even give me anything. They just talked. They just preached. You're joking. That's why religion is psychology. Alright, so let's stop here. This is part 2 and we're going to do part 3. We are still on this video. Very important video because it is trying to challenge diversity, the diversity principle and multiculturalism, which we stand for. I support multiculturalism and I support diversity.